If you've ever wondered how your own country doubles as a narcotics money laundering hub and how all of the world governments are in on it, you're in the right place. In this video, I'll explain through my personal experience living on the laundromat island of the Dominican Republic how their operations are literally happening in your first world countries. Now, the reason why I spent almost half a year on the Dominican Republic is because during the pandemic, there were no vaccine mandates, no lockdowns, and no visa restrictions. Allegedly, the owners of the island, the Mexican drug cartel, they threatened the local government by funding riots if they ever dared to impose lockdowns. And funnily enough, both Mexico and the Dominican Republic were one of the very few countries throughout the entire pandemic to leave their borders open to all types of tourists without any QR codes. And as I was exploring the beautiful white sandy beaches of Punta Cana, the lush green rainforests up north, and the capital city of Santo Domingo, a local friend of mine explained exactly how this beach resort island operates and is controlled by the Mexican cartel. He explained in detail why they specifically chose this area, why they built an international airport, why they owned all of the casinos, the beach resorts, and the hotels, and the land under these resorts, and the construction companies that built these resorts. And the short answer is, gringos love the island. It's just a short flight away from the northern US and Canada, and it's a hot spot for American tourists. And guess what they're spending? Dollars, specifically cash dollars. And even though they have their local currency, the Dominican peso, almost everyone accepts dollars. And this gives the right pretext for the Mexican cartel to launder money. The island is filled with nightclubs, strip clubs, and other cash-intensive businesses all around. And these are perfect tools to filter dirty money. Think about it. When an American tourist goes over there, what is he doing? He's probably going around with a taxi and spending cash. Well, they literally have taxi companies with massive warehouses, yet the cars never leave the premises. They use phantom fares where supposedly per day they're having 3-4 shifts and not a single car leaves. And it doesn't stop there. You have those party boats, sports fishing boats, those luxury yachts. These vessels are supposedly booked back to back, packed with American tourists, twice a day, every day. And all of this gives the perfect pretext to funnel cash deposits through this system. And then finally, there are those popular beach resorts built on cartel-owned land by cartel-controlled construction companies. And you're starting to see the bigger picture. They've designed an entire economy, a system where money flows through a circular manner through tourism, construction companies, back into their own pockets. And the message is pretty clear. The cartel doesn't just operate on the island, they own it. And what happens with all that laundered money once it's been cleaned? Where does the cartel stash all of its billions? Well, the answer lies in too big to fail banks. Maybe you even heard of the 2012 HSBC scandal, where whistleblowers literally revealed that the bank was accepting duffel bags of cash from the cartel in their branches. And for that, HSBC got a small slap on the wrist, $1 billion fine, which is meaningless for an international institution. And spoiler alert, it still continues to this day. And this all brings us to the point of this story. To all those goody two-shoes out there who complain about people using offshore tax havens or loopholes to reduce the amount that gets extorted by our government mafias, let me burst your bubble. Not a single government has clean hands, and that includes the least corrupt countries in Scandinavia, including you, Denmark. All of the Western governments and Eastern governments participate in the international trade of narcotics. It's just that they need to put up a better show for the rule of law indoctrinated population. They need to wear a better disguise. Let's take Europe as an example. Now, as some of you may know, I recently returned from Amsterdam, and the red light district offers the same beautiful tourist hive that we just saw in the Dominican Republic. And what do those tourists use? Cash euros. Now, because European governments scrutinize accounting a little more, what these major drug peddlers do is they usually buy bankrupt businesses to capture the tax loss credits. And when you get the business and you inject new capital and you operate it, you can take advantage and write off those tax loss credits. So what you're doing is you're resurfacing the money and you're getting it tax free. And during those 3 years, you can write off all the renovations as depreciation. And after the 3 years, you can close it down and reopen under new management. That's why you see a bunch of these nightclubs, they shut down and reopen after a couple of months. It's not a coincidence. And where do you think all that cleaned up cash ends up in? The same too big to fail banks that we were talking about, except these people don't have to jump through the KYC hoops like we do. These people get immediate private banking, an introducer who takes them to the top suite. Chances are, if you're watching this video, you're not part of the big club. That's why we made this channel, for the ones who aren't the chosen ones to keep more of what they make. Anyway, that's it for today's video. If you enjoy this type of content, be sure to subscribe and leave a comment down below. It helps with the algorithm. I made a recent video on how a German is trying to cash out millions in Bitcoin, but doesn't have the source of funds. I'll be seeing you in a future presentation, but until then, bye-bye.